Minister, I welcome the chance to speak on this really important bill, and I want to thank all the Mayo farmers and suppliers and those concerned with agriculture who contacted me with their valuable input into this bill. It's a long overdue piece of legislation that has been a source of great anxiety due to the very serious risks it could pose to the sector if we don't get this right. It should have been transposed by January 2022. But the delay has largely been the government's own making, as they looked at the end of the system of allowing people designated as responsible peoples or RPs to dispense. I'm relieved that the indications are that the Minister has finally accepted the opinion of all stakeholders outside of the department that the current regime operated by RPs should be maintained. I say indications because the fact of the matter is that this legislation doesn't make it clear at this point. The bill does not deliver a clear role for RPs. The Minister, as my colleagues have stated, has two options. Either he ensures that the Veterinary Council of Ireland amend their code of practice prior to the passing of this bill, or he must accept amendments to the bill at committee stage to provide RPs with a clear role within the legislation itself. If this is not done correctly, the bill could have significant impacts on access for the WMPs and animal health and welfare, especially in areas on the periphery to the more limited access to the veterinary services. There is a chronic shortage of vets, as you'll know, especially working in the agricultural sector in rural areas with large animals. We've allowed a situation to emerge where we are only training between a third and a quarter of vets that are needed. And while they are being delivered in higher education, it's actually the Department of Agriculture that has lead responsibility here. It's beyond understanding that successive ministers for agriculture would allow this situation to emerge. An evaluation of farmed animal veterinary service in Ireland in 2020 identifies the counties of Donegal, Galway, Kerry, and indeed my own county of Mayo as having the highest number of herds over 20 kilometres from their nearest private veterinary practice. The issue before us in this legislation relates to RPs, and if their role in the sector is not protected, then that would constitute a real threat to the thousands of valuable jobs across rural Ireland. Rural Ireland simply cannot afford to lose those jobs. The British government availed of the derogation prior to Brexit on the dilution in the roles of RPs. We cannot have a situation where we have two separate regimes for the prescribing and the dispensation of veterinary medical products on the island. 50% of milk and meat from the north are processed in the south and rightly labelled as Irish, but that also means that we need to ensure compliance of the same standards. All of that said, it's imperative that the measures are employed to tackle antimicrobial and anti-parasitic resistance. This is vital for humans as well as for animal health. But that needs to be done in a way that makes sense to the sector, to rural economies, and indeed to the island as a whole. Gurmagad.